Okay, I think we got 17 or 18 people in here now. Can everybody hear me talking? Okay, great. So some of you were just in our other meeting. Thanks for coming to that. And some of you are just joining this one for the first time. So for those of you who haven't met me yet, I am Isaac Hart. I'm the resident director of BACMS here in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And this meeting will be the second pre-trip for the Hustai National Park course that's being led by Dr. Tserman Yamdawa. At this point, I'm just going to turn the meeting over directly to her. After she talks, I'll talk about some of the other logistics and safety concerns and just kind of travel notes about coming to and being in Mongolia. So with that, take it away, Dr. Tserma.
For taking your time for the pre-trip information meeting. I would like to ask the two other instructors just joined the meeting. Also, our coordinator and translator joined. So I would like them to introduce themselves. Batsaya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Batsaya. I am wildlife and wild horse biologist at Hustai National Park. I'm working here last 4 years. If they come to the field trip members, I will be guiding the field, and I will be giving some information about the Przewalski horses and the wildlife. Yeah, that's all.
Dr. Tsirindon, would you like to introduce yourself since it's the first time you are participating in the meeting? You are on mute. Do you unmute?
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tsegi from Hustai National Park, and thank you for the meeting. And I'm really appreciated in the participating in the summer school. You can call me shortly Tsegi. My full name is Tsirindolom. It's a little bit difficult to say. I've been working in this national park since 2009 as a botanist, and my duty is conducting some long-term monitoring of vegetation around the Hustai National Park. And we planned some more detailed information about our research for the summer school. And also we will do some field exercise experiment and some practice in the field. Yeah, we plan it like this.
Thank you. We have Amon Batsuri as a coordinator and translator. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. My name is Amon Batsur. I am a PhD candidate at the University of Alaska, Fairbanks. My research interests are well-being and well-being studies, using well-being indicators for policy evaluation purpose, and currently conducting my study in the Gir district of Ulaanbaatar to evaluate sustainability policies using the well-being indicators. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to join this field school as a coordinator and translator, and willing to know about the nature conservation and sustainability in Hustai National Park. And thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. The other instructors were not able to join the meeting. Sorry about that. Now I will go through a little bit more detailed activities of the course. As you know, our course will our main location will be Hustai National Park. Out of 14 days, for 11 days we will stay Hustai National Park, and the course will be held between July 29th and August 11th. As you know, also we have six instructors, and we will have a coordinator and translator. Since the course aims are present on the website, I will skip the course aims and reading materials. The majority of the course will focus on experimental and site-based learning. But the participants are encouraged to read several journal articles. Each instructor will provide 2 or 3 journal articles. So I'm gathering the all journal articles, and shortly I will send an email with the PDF format. Regarding the assignments, we don't have many assignments during the field school, but we are expecting the participants to deliver 5-minute reflection presentation on the 3 main topics, 3 main themes like biodiversity conservation at Hustai National Park, community-based conservation, and traditional culture. The reflection presentation will be organized on the final day of the course. Now I will go through the detailed activities of each day and time, and main person who is responsible for the detailed activities or each day. Also supporting persons. Supporting persons will be like me and Amazon. We will be there whole time, but the other instructors will be there for their days they are in charge. For the first day, it will be July 29th. There will be first there will be introduction of course faculty and fellow participants. Also, there will be 4 lectures provided by different personnel, like fundamental understanding of Mongolian culture, Mongolian history, Mongolian language, and biodiversity of Mongolia, and Mongolian network of especially protected areas. On the second day, Dr. Usuk Jargal will provide a lecture on introduction of Hustai National Park. And in the afternoon, we will visit Mongolian National Museum and visit Kandang Monastery. Then Amon and I will be guiding the participants. For the third day, we will come to Hustai National Park by 4 or 5 vehicles, and we will settle into gears. We are planning to have like 6 or 7 gears, so that for each gear there will be like 3 or 4 people live together for entire time. Then in the evening, Dr. Usuk Jargal will present a lecture on Przewalski horses. And fourth day, we should get up early because we will do observing and tracking Przewalski horses. So for 2 or 3 days we should get up so that we can see the wildlife and do the necessary activities. For the 5th day, Dr. Tsirin Dolum will present a lecture on flora and vegetation monitoring research of Hustai National Park. And after that, we will hike to the mountains around the camp, and we will have tasks of identifying some plants by flower around the mountains around the camp as well. Also, Dr. Cherndulum will introduce the herbarium collection and measurement of vegetation biomass at the vegetation monitoring plot. There are several monitoring plots of vegetation around the Hustai National Park. So we will visit one of them. On the sixth day, Mr. Orumbai will be in charge, and he will guide the conducting wildlife transects and counting, like Rizwaski horses, red deer, Mongolian gazelle, Argala sheep, marmot, and gray wolves. Also, Mr. Orumbai will help you to utilize GS programs to conduct comprehensive habitat analysis and estimate population size of those wildlife. Also, in the afternoon, we will meet the Hustai National Parks rangers and learn about their experiences and expertise in wildlife conservation and the Hustai National Park management. On the seventh day, we will drive to Huitollan Hotel, which is a little bit far away from the Hustai National Park, so that we will partake one of the traditional festival called Danshignatum Puretsam. Then we will be able to witness traditional dances, music, singing, also horse racing, wrestling matches, and we will be able to see a lot of Mongolian people wearing Mongolian traditional clothes. On the eighth day, we will visit Hurdu families. We are thinking about visiting two Hurdu families, but we will be divided into groups, and one of them, and we will visit two different Hurdu families. Then we will be able to interact with them and engage in traditional activities like herding livestock, milking goats, and preparing traditional food and dairy products. On the ninth day, there will be two lectures. Mr. Bimdart will provide a lecture on community-based conservation within Hustai National Park and its buffer zone. And after that, I will present a lecture on how community-based rangeland management principles have been implemented for protecting the buffer zone rangelands at Hustai National Park. In the afternoon, we are going to visit local enterprises like a cheese factory and artisanal filmmaking groups in operation in Arvidsjaur. So, in order to visit Arvidsjaur, we will have maybe 1.5 or 2 hours drive from Hustai National Park. On the 10th day, Mr. Orumbai will talk about gray wolves' behavior and their population dynamic and what kind of roles gray wolves play in the ecosystem of Hustai National Park. Also, in the afternoon, the participants will collaborate with park biologists and rangers for tracking gray wolves within the park's area. On the 11th day, we are going to drive to Hoguntaran Nature Reserve, and we will receive a comprehensive understanding of the reserve. Then Mr. Bimdart will be charged in this activity. Then also in the afternoon, we will visit Tasdakha sand dunes for hiking on the sand dunes and riding Mongolian camel. On the 12th day, Mr. Batsaya we'll talk about Mongolian marmots and also its crucial role within the ecosystem of Hustai National Park. After the lecture, we will guided by Mr. Patsaya for observing Mongolian marmots.
No, I didn't.
In the afternoon, what did you say? In the afternoon, also Mr. Patsaya will guide us for exploring ancient Mongol monuments, which is very close to the Hustai National Park camp. On the 13th day, we will visit nearby Mongolian Banjar dog breeding project, and we will learn how important they are in conservation of rangelands as well. Then on this day, we will return to Ulaanbaatar, and on the last day, we will gather together and we will have a reflection presentation, and we will conclude the course. Dr. Hart, would you like to provide the other information? Then after that, we will answer the questions. Is it okay?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Dr. Chama. I really wish that I could take this course. It looks so cool. I was just out at Hustai last weekend. We had another group here in Mongolia for a faculty development seminar, and we went out there just for the afternoon and saw some of the Przewalski's horse. They have, I think this year they're up to over 300 horses now, and there are over 40 new baby foals running around. We're just past the foaling season, so there's a whole bunch of baby horses running around. And there was a million marmots everywhere. We saw some foxes and gazelles and a ton of elk, and it's just a really beautiful time out there to be out in the Mongolian countryside. So I'm gonna share. Let's see. You'd think I would have some Zoom skills by now. Where's my share screen? I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation that one of my colleagues made for, he was the Fulbright coordinator for Mongolia, for the Mongolian Fulbright research, for the American researchers that come to Mongolia to do Fulbright research. And so he prepared this kind of basic information on how to get to and be in Mongolia and avoid some of the pitfalls that are common to Americans coming here. So these are just best practices to kind of be in Mongolia and minimize problems. But we'll talk about we've sent a little bit of packing information for what to bring. The packing list that I sort of modified to send around to everyone was sort of based on doing archaeological field work. So there are some things that, you know, might not necessarily be that necessary, but just sort of a review of what you should be bringing. If you are sort of an introvert and, you know, love your alone time, make sure you bring some extra reading material. You'll find yourself with a lot of downtime sitting around in gears at camp. And if you're not wandering around up in the hills, you might bring some reading material to keep you occupied. Souvenirs from home. Mongolia is a very gift-oriented culture, and going around, especially if you visit anyone in their home, you'll be doing some visits to local communities around Hustai. Bring some souvenirs, you know, small objects that are meaningful to your hometown. You know, not fancy things, nothing that costs more than maybe $5 or $10, but like maybe a, you know, baseball cap from your university, or, you know, something, coffee mug, something that just sort of demonstrates that you were there and you're glad people have let you come into their home. Chargers and converters. It's going to be challenging to keep things charged. Bring some extra batteries if you have like USB battery packs. The power in Mongolia electricity is something like 230 volts or something. So if you bring any electrical devices, they won't work here. Like if you bring a hairdryer, it'll blow up. Anything that has an electric motor in it will blow up. So like, if you have a plug-in, electric razor or something, it will blow up. Don't use it. But if you have anything that works with a battery, most things can, if you look at the charging cables, they usually say something like 5 to 300 volts or something. So most USB based charging things will work here. You'll have to get an adapter to plug it into the Mongolian outlet, but yeah, don't count on being able to find chargers for your devices here. You should be able to find adapters, like you can get power strips that accept American style plugs, but don't bring anything with an electric motor in it. Extra headphones. So if you have, Bluetooth headphones, you might find the batteries die and you have trouble recharging it. So bring extra headphones that plug in if you have such a thing. Do definitely bring whatever important medications and antibiotics that you need. There are, pharmacies here, but it can be very challenging both to describe what you're looking for as well as, describe symptoms talking to a pharmacist here. So make sure that you bring whatever you might need. It'll be very challenging to get any medications that you don't have with you. Bring some sun protection. You're going to be outside in the sun a lot. Typically, I just will wear long sleeve shirts and hats, but definitely bring some extra sunscreen with you. The gears in the camp will have bedding, but if you sleep cold, you might want to bring an extra sleeping bag just to have with you. Some people just want to have an extra sleeping bag so they have their own bedding, but this is definitely not necessary. Water filter. So this is mostly, some of you will be staying before the course and after the course, extending your stay. If you plan to be out in the countryside at all, definitely bring a water filter. The water in Ulaanbaatar out of the municipal water supply is for the most part safe from pathogens. I still only drink bottled and filtered water on the advice of basically the State Department staff that's here. They say don't drink the water, but it's relatively safe, but we'll always have bottled water for everybody, filtered bottled water. But again, if you're going to be out in the countryside before or after the course, definitely have a water filter with you in the case that you're going to be away from opportunities to buy bottled water. Don't bring valuables. Don't bring things with lithium batteries. Don't bring big knives. I don't want to say don't bring too many books, but you're going to be moving around a lot, and having a lot of heavy objects with you might make it difficult to get around. Yeah. As far as clothing and dress, definitely bring warm clothing and or some rain gear. The daytime temperatures out in Hustai while you're out there can get kind of up into the low 80s, so it won't be super warm every day, and the evenings can get down sometimes into down into the 40s and even into the 30s sometimes. So be prepared for cool evenings. Make sure you have some good outdoor or exercise shoes. I like to just have my sort of daily driver when I'm out in the field is just a nice set of hiking boots. I recommend against wearing things like flip-flops even at camp, just because the only medical issue I've ever had in my 20 years of doing field archaeology is one time when I was wearing flip-flops, and back at camp I stubbed my toe and I cut it, and I had to drive 3 hours to the nearest emergency room to get some stitches. So try not to wear flip-flops. Just generally bring some good hiking shoes, and you might want to bring one set of sort of formalish attire, like business casual. In general, Mongolian people are very style conscious, and things like, I know I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt right now, but generally people don't wear short sleeve shirts. Even just walking around town here, people are very style conscious. Definitely bring enough underwear and socks. Don't plan on being able to wash anything while you're here, so make sure you have 2 weeks worth of clothes. Don't bring too many shoes. So again, I like to have just one good set of hiking shoes and maybe a set of sneakers for running around or for walking around in. Yeah. So packing for travel, in your carry-on, make sure you have things that can be dumped out on a table and rapidly repacked. Mongolia is not a particularly security heavy environment. So, coming through the airport, you probably won't have your stuff gone through, but if you connect through like Beijing, be prepared to have the security people basically just open up your bag and dump everything on a table. So anything that can be damaged, you'll want to pack in your checked luggage. Most phones now have eSIMs. My iPhone, I think 15, I'm not sure what I have. It has an eSIM. If you want to get an eSIM here, you can get one as a tourist for, I think, 50,000 Tugruks for a 30-day SIM card with 30 gigabytes of data. That's what I have. I also have my US phone number is on Google Fi, which works here for no additional charges. I just have their lightest data plan. I think it's like $20 a month or something, and my phone works here. Verizon also works here, at least in the city. If you have one of those, it's kind of annoying because they charge you $10 every time you turn your phone on, but it's $10 a day. So if you wanted to have it for the whole time, it would be something like $140. And there is some spotty cell service out at Hustai, but I wouldn't rely on it, even if you get a Mongolian SIM card. I just mentioned that, and yeah, definitely. If you find yourself using your phone a lot, definitely bring some extra batteries. If you're here, before or after the course, generally, we're going to be traveling around as groups when we're with the course. But if you're here before and after on your own, generally, if you're out alone and you've gone to the bar or something, don't get in cars with strangers. There's a very informal taxi thing that Mongolian people here do. You just go out on the street and hold your hand out, and someone will pull over and pick you up and give you a taxi ride. Generally, try to avoid that. There's a taxi app called UbiCab that you can use for scheduling rides. And generally, the buses are pretty safe. I think it's something like 500 Tugruks. You just get on the bus and give the driver cash, and they will take you on the bus. 500 Tugruks is something like, it's not even 25 cents. So it's very inexpensive. Avoid traveling alone generally. Try to travel in groups and avoid leaving money or your phone in pockets or bags. I was just with some embassy staff last night having dinner, and one of them told me they went to the local convenience store, the CU, and she was buying a soda or something, and she took her wallet out of her bag and paid for the thing, and then took it back and turned around, and in the time that she had put her wallet back in her bag, the person behind her had reached in and taken it, and by the time she got home 10 minutes later, that person had already spent $3,000 on her debit card buying several iPhones. So pickpocketing is a real thing here. Be very conscious about being in public spaces that are busy. Some notes about eating in Mongolia. I know some of you are vegetarian and some of you have even more restrictive diets. Mongolian food is delicious. It can be very challenging for American expectations. It's a very meat-based diet. Vegetarian options are possible, but it can be quite challenging to get vegetarian food. And you should know that you may find yourself, ordering some noodles, a vegetarian noodle dish, and what they've actually done is simply made the meat dish and then, picked the meat out of it. So if it's a true allergy situation, it can be dangerous. But know that, vegetarianism is rare here. There is, religious Buddhism here, or religious vegetarianism here associated with Mongolian Buddhism, with Tibetan Buddhism, but it's pretty rare. And there's running jokes in Mongolia about, oh, I'm a vegetarian, so I only eat chicken, kind of a thing. So yeah, it can be challenging. There's not much spice in Mongolian food. You may encounter, especially in situations in someone's home where you're offered foods that you don't really want to eat, especially animal products, large chunks of of animal fat, like a sheep tail, which is a delicacy for Mongolians, but it's a very foreign experience for Americans. And Americans generally have trouble with some of the things that Mongolians find particularly delicious. And Mongolians in these situations can apply heavy social pressure. They really want you to try the thing, and they really want you to enjoy it as much as they do. So be prepared to have a plan in place to resist this kind of social pressure. This can happen with drinking alcohol in social situations as well. You may find yourself sitting in a circle in someone's gear, and someone starts passing around, a shot glass full of vodka to everyone. So have a plan in place to resist that if you don't want to partake. And again, yeah, even if you order vegetarian food in a restaurant, or if you ask someone to make some vegetarian food in the home, it will likely be cooked in proximity or even with animal products such as animal grease. The food at Hustai is really good. Again, we were just out there and we had lunch with them, and there will be vegetarian options that are not cooked with animal products. But again, in a social setting or in somebody's gear, it will be very challenging to stay vegetarian. One thing that is very common for people traveling to Mongolia, or really everywhere, anytime you make a big change in your diet, you can get some gastrointestinal stress, and be prepared for a few days of traveler's diarrhea. That just happens to some people, even in the absence of actual pathogens. Just changing your diet dramatically can upset your stomach. And again, if you have a local travel clinic, where I'm from in Utah, each county has a dedicated travel clinic for the county. So visit a travel doctor, see if you can get some prophylactic antibiotics, in case of whatever you might experience here, as well as whatever immunizations you need for travel. Again, water is not potable here. You'll see Mongolian people often, drinking water out of a river. If you do it all the time and you have built up the immune system to deal with it, they don't get sick from it. But if you drink from a river here, you will probably get giardia and be violently ill for a week or two. So only drink water out of, filtered bottled water. I would recommend against bringing cash here and trying to exchange it. You can do that, especially here in UB at banks. But know that if you try to do that, only the most absolutely pristine large denomination bills will be accepted. Don't try to bring 20s and get them changed. And even, minor folds and barely perceptible tears in the bills will cause them to be rejected. They will only accept absolutely pristine US currency for exchange. I just plan on using ATMs, especially Han Bank, KHAAN. I have a Han Bank account, but even when I didn't, Han Bank is always the most reliable ATMs, and it can be dangerous to use an ATM from a less reputable bank, because sometimes if they have bad communication, it may cause the ATM to think that you're committing fraud, and they will swallow your card and keep it. So generally, I just recommend using Han Bank, and make sure you put a travel alert on your bank account to let them know that you're going to be in Mongolia before trying to get cash out of a Mongolian ATM. You should know that Hustai National Park is at least 2 hours from Ulaanbaatar, and depending on traffic, it can actually be 3 or 4 hours. So you will be quite a distance from medical care. Almost all the medical care that you get, even here in UB, will not meet the standards that you're used to in the US or in any Western country, really. If you need to be evacuated from Hustai, again, it'll be several hours. So just be safe when you're out there. Take whatever medicine you need. Wear good footwear. Footwear is the number one. Well, motor vehicles are the number one danger in any field experience, but footwear is number two. Make sure you have Ankle support, you don't want to roll your ankles and have to stay in camp because you can't walk. Yeah, just don't take unnecessary medical risks. Don't pet dogs. Rabies is present in Mongolia. I don't know that they don't have many human cases, but it is a real risk. So don't pet dogs, even in the city, even little puppies. And don't stand in the road or cross the street impulsively. Don't expect drivers of cars to see you and react as though they think you're going to cross the street. Only cross at crosswalks with a light, and even when you have a light, make sure that cars are stopped for you. Don't expect people to stop. And again, just give very serious consideration to your travel and your contingency plans and, emergency situations, what you're going to do, who you're going to contact. We'll have some phone numbers on a handout that we give everybody that gets here with all the ACMS contact numbers, as well as some local medical facilities, so that you'll have those in case of emergency. Can skip that. Again, SIM, you can get an eSIM here locally for around $15 for a 30-day plan. I wouldn't rely on that. While at Hustai, you should have some service out there, but I wouldn't rely on it for 24 hours. And if you do plan on getting an eSIM, make sure your SIM is unlocked. Some carriers still lock the phone, so you can't change SIMs. So just make sure that your phone is unlocked. And again, there is excellent 5G service here in Ulaanbaatar, but expect to not have cell service between town centers. So expect to be out of communication for most of the time you're out at Hustai. In terms of language and cultural barriers, Mongolians really appreciate attempts at their language and attempts at cultural engagement. There's a good YouTube channel, the Nomenger YouTube channel, Nominger, that does some really good basic intro videos to Mongolian language. There's also an app now called Ling, Ling, that has Mongolian language instruction. I recommend at least learning some greetings, Sembeno, Sembeskano. And then I have found in my own experience, the number one, the very most impactful thing you can do as someone that doesn't speak a language is at least learn the numbers. Learning the numbers allows you to follow along conversations much more than you would think is possible. So learn the greetings and the numbers, and then any other thing you can do to put some effort into learning Mongolian language, people will appreciate here. And communicating with a lot of people here in Mongolia, more and more every year, are becoming more proficient in English language. But again, it's often their third or fourth language. So be kind and patient and thoughtful when speaking to people. Don't walk up to people and start barking at them in English. And when you do communicate in English, it's kind of an exercise in speaking in the most simple way that you can. Think of synonyms for different words. And short sentences. Mongolian language doesn't lend itself to long sentences, so always try to speak in as short sentences as you can when speaking in English language. People here, Mongolians generally, they don't speak in long sentences, and so it can be challenging to follow along, in your third or fourth language with very long sentences. Just some unique consideration. Mongolian culture prioritizes humility, silence, and thoughtfulness. If you're walking around on the street and somebody's foot accidentally touches yours, you may expect them to reach out to shake your hand, or even actually grab your hand to shake it. It's just a cultural thing people do here. And if you find yourself in someone's gear in the evening, you may be expected to sing or get up and give a short speech about something that you're doing, or eat or drink in a communal setting. And if you find yourself here and you want to go to the market and buy yourself a traditional Mongolian del, that's the name of these long robes. This is not viewed as cultural appropriation here, but cultural appreciation. Mongolian people really like it when you adopt or when you wear Mongolian clothing while you're here. They view it as the sign of respect that it is intended as. So don't hesitate to go get yourself a nice Mongolian Dell. They're really nice, especially back at camp on cold evenings. It's like having an extra pair of sweats you can throw on. And if you're a cool weather sleeper and you have a cold sleeping bag, they serve as an extra blanket that you can throw yourself under to stay warm at night. I've mentioned the Mongolian language learning. Focus on hearing the pronunciation. Mongolian language has a lot of sounds that English speakers have trouble with. There's a lot of things that go on in the back of the throat that, and there's a lot of sort of fricative noises. So really focus on pronunciation and reading. Try to learn the Cyrillic letters. And again, there are some apps now like Ling that I mentioned, but Google Translate works really well with Mongolian. It works surprisingly well, including, you can use the camera feature to literally translate pictures while you read them. There's a couple other apps. So here's just an example of Google Translate, taking a picture of something and then just live translating it for you on the fly. This works really well. I'm going to skip over this again because I've already said some of this. So yeah, at this point, I think that's basically everything that I wanted to go over. And we just wanted to give everyone a chance at this point to ask any questions you might have about the course, either questions for me or Dr. Tsirma about Mongolia or ACMS or Hustai or marmots or whatever you want to talk about. The floor is open. You can either just unmute yourself and start talking or raise your hand or post questions in the chat. Is everybody really just ready to go? Oh, sorry, I missed the chat. So Wang Yisu asks, can I check if it will be convenient to still bring luggage around? So we will have, I would recommend if you can get all the stuff that you need to take to Hostai into one like traveling backpack, like a walking around backpack, a large backpack. One bag would be great while you're out at Hustai. And if you bring, 2 or 3 checked items, you can leave things here in our ACMS office here in Ulaanbaatar. We're pretty close to the Bayangol Hotel. The hotel reservations for the nights you'll be in Ulaanbaatar will be at the Bayangol, and they also, if you want to leave your stuff there, they will accommodate, and they have a storage room there in the hotel. But if you don't want to do that, you can also leave stuff here in the Ulaanbaatar ACMS office. We have a big storage room.
So, would it be okay to bring something like a laptop with a lithium battery and then leave it, not take it out to the field, but leave it at the hotel?
Yeah, that would be okay.
Okay.
For staying at Hustai National Park, the cost of food will be provided by ACMS. Maybe for the first 2 days and for the first 2 days you will pay for your food yourselves.
I saw that on the syllabus. I just wanted to clarify. For those first 2 nights, I was planning on organizing like a group dinner. So I think ACMS will still be able to cover the dinners on those nights. but I will take the lead on that.
For the issue with the lithium batteries, is that a plane issue or is it that carrying it to Hustai? Because I have a camera as well as a laptop.
Yeah, it's mostly a plane issue. I know they've relaxed the rules a little bit, but sometimes the airlines don't want you putting lithium batteries in your checked luggage, or only in your checked luggage. I'm not exactly sure what the rules are now.
I think it's not in checked luggage. It's only in carry-on. You can take it.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, so like you can certainly take your laptop, which has a lithium battery on it, in your checked baggage. There was a question about showers outside of UB. Yes, there you will have access to shower facilities at Hustai National Park. Oh yeah, thank you, Zerma. The name of the hotel is Bayangol, Bayyangol. It's about a 4-minute walk from the ACMS office here, so it'll be pretty convenient. We're gonna do some group lecture meetings in the morning in the same building that the ACMS is in the American Corner, which is a space leased from the library by the U.S. State Department. Lisa, that's a good question about laundry. There are some, I think the Bayangol Hotel can arrange laundry service for you, as well as there are some laundry service locations around here in town that we can direct you to. I would recommend going to one of the drop-off places where you just take them a bag and then go pick it up either later that day or the next day.
So are you saying, oh, sorry.
Doctor, there is a question like, so will ACMS be providing purified water for us when we stay in at Hustai National Park?
Yeah, so the water that they'll provide at the tourist camp is safe to drink. That's all filtered, and they'll have bottled water available as well. So yeah, you don't need to bring a filter if you're only coming to participate in the course. But again, if you're going out in the countryside afterwards, it's just a good idea to have a filter with you. And even what I've heard from there are some water system specialists here, American water system specialists here associated with the State Department and the Millennium Challenge Corporation. And what they've told me is even when the water here might be safe in terms of microbes, one of the issues is old pipes that can leach metals into the water. So even when you have water that's safe in terms of microbes, it can have long-term negative consequences from the metals in the water. So drink bottled water when it's available.
There was a question in the chat about the readings, availability of the readings.
I will send you the reading list tomorrow. I have like 10 or 12 journal articles related to our course. Also, I want to add something. If you want to buy a SIM card or eSIM, I would recommend to buy a SIM from Mobicom cell service, because Mobicom works at Hustai National Park. I will write down the name in the chat.
Yeah, and if anyone needs assistance getting an eSIM, we just had a bunch of American faculty people here, and we took them over to the store to get eSIMs. It's a pretty easy process. It takes maybe 15 minutes. You have to take your passport with you when you do that, so be aware of that. But yeah, it's 50,000 Mongolian tugriks, which is about 15 US dollars for a 30-day plan with 30 gigabytes of data. And if you're not watching YouTube videos all day, it's very hard to use 30 gigabytes of data.
Can I add some information about the Hustai National Park? Okay, first, about food. Luckily, we will have in summertime. That's why we can easily find some veggies at Hustai, especially. And it will be some buffet lunch, and you can find more veggies. Yeah. And if you have a vegetarians, you should say to Tsirma, then we will extra concern about that. Yeah, especially our national park have some tourist camp, and we extra concerned about the food. That's why if you have a special wish, you should tell to Tsirma. And about money, of course, you can use the Visa at around the national park. We have a post machine, but I recommended the Tugrik cash is the easy to use around the national park. For example, after dinner, you can buy some 1 or 2 bottle beer. It's around more than 15,000 tugrik, around 7 to 15,000. In that case, if you want to drink extra thing, yeah, you need some cash, and also you can use the Visa card. And we have some laundry service. It will be, yeah, if you wish order some washing or laundering, you can tell us. Yeah, it's possible to serve. And yeah, we have a Mobicom service. It means some network service about the Mobicom, and some said, yeah, as Therma said, you can use the data around the national park, especially around the tourist camp. Yeah.
Thank you, Tiggy, for the note about especially the laundry. I wasn't sure if that was going to be an option. And as she mentioned, I wasn't quite certain of this, so I didn't want to say it, but it sounds like Mobicom works pretty well, especially at the tourist camp. And if you have, so I have a Google Fi plan, and my Google Fi plan works pretty well with the Mobicom network. So if you have Google Fi, your phone should work at Hustai, and I think Verizon does as well. But I had to switch from Verizon because I was traveling a lot, and I found that I would frequently accidentally turn my phone on, and the first thing that would happen is Verizon texts me, "Welcome to wherever you are. You just paid us $10 to use your phone." So I found that kind of annoying, so I switched to Google Fi, which is much cheaper, and it works well here in Mongolia. But I also have a Mobicom eSIM that also works.
Is there availability of Wi-Fi at Hustai?
There is Wi-Fi, but it does not work very well. So I recommend that you should buy a SIM card and use the data. It gives you have a charger so that you could charge your phones and computers. But as Dr. Har said, you should have a different converter.
I think Wi-Fi is only work around the hostel office. It means you can use during the meeting time. Around lunch or dinner time, or when you have in your gears, it's impossible to use Wi-Fi.
I don't have a lot of experience with the SIM card thing, but it sounds like that can be taken care of when we get there if our phones are unlocked and that sort of thing. Is that right?
Yeah, so make sure that your carrier hasn't locked your phone, and then
Yeah.
just check whether, so like all the newer iPhones all have eSIMs, so they no longer have a physical SIM card. But depending on the model of phone you have, you may still have a physical SIM card. So just know that before you go to the store so that you don't go through the whole process and then realize that you bought the wrong thing.
But they provide both.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
They have both physical SIM cards as well as they just basically scan a QR code and it programs a new SIM card into your phone automatically.
Seems like we finished with the questions.
Yeah, again, if you have any more questions, send them on over. We'll try to answer questions as quick as possible, to make sure everybody gets the right information. But unless anybody has anything else right now, I think we can go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you everyone for joining us. I know scheduling these meetings is always challenging because of all the time zone differences. It's 10 a.m. here, and I know it's 10 p.m. in Washington, where Dr. Tserma is, and it's something like 6 p.m. for somebody on the West Coast, and I don't know if anybody here is in the UK. We also have some participants from Mexico. So thank you everyone for coming. And at this point, I don't think we're going to schedule any more pre-trip meetings. But if you want to chat with anybody, we can set up some additional Zoom meetings or phone calls or whatever you need to make sure that you have everything you need. Oh, good luck with the defense, Lisa. That gives me a little bit of PTSD just thinking about defending. And Dr. Tserma actually only defended a couple months ago, so she's a brand new doctor.
Thank you. Good luck, Lisa.
It's a little traumatic, yes, so far.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for taking your time. Looking forward to see you within 2 months.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting. Thank you everybody for joining us, and
Bye.
can't wait to see you all here in Mongolia.
Thank you and see you soon.